Chapter 14. The First Miracle. Matilda sat down again at her desk. The Trunchbull seated herself behind the teacher's table. It was the first time she had sat down during the lesson. Then she reached out her hand and took hold of her water jug. Still holding the jug by the handle, but not lifting it yet, she said, "I have never been able to understand why small children are so disgusting. They are the bane of my life. They are like insects. They should be got rid of as early as possible. We get rid of flies with fly spray and by hanging up fly paper. I've often thought of inventing a spray for getting rid of small children. How splendid it would be to walk into this classroom with a gigantic spray gun in my hands and start pumping it, or better still, some huge strips of sticky paper. I'd hang them all around the school and you'd get stuck to them and that would be the end of it. Wouldn't that be a good idea, Miss Honey?" "If it's meant to be a joke, headmistress, I don't think it's a very funny one," Miss Honey said from the back of the class. "Well, you wouldn't, would you, Miss Honey?" the Trunchbull said. "And it's not meant to be a joke. It's my idea of a perfect school. Miss Honey is one that has no children in it at all. One of these days I shall start up a school like that, and it will be very successful." "The woman's mad," Miss Honey was telling herself. "She's round the twist. She's the one who ought to be got rid of." The Trunchbull now lifted the large blue porcelain water jug and poured some water into her glass, and suddenly, with the water, out came the long, slimy newt straight into the glass. Plop. The Trunchbull let out a yell and leapt off her chair, although a firecracker had gone off underneath her. And now the children also saw the long, thin, slimy, yellow-bellied newt twisting and turning in the glass, and they squirmed and jumped about as well, shouting, "What is it? Oh, it's disgusting! It's a snake! It's a baby crocodile! It's an alligator!" "Look out, Miss Trunchbull!" cried Lavender. "I bet it bites!" Miss Trunchbull, this mighty female giant, stood there in her green breeches, quivering like a blancmange. She was especially furious that someone had succeeded in making her jump and yell like that, because she prided herself on her toughness. She stared at the creature twisting and wriggling in the glass. Curiously enough, she had never seen a newt before. Natural history was not her strong point. She hadn't the faintest idea what the thing was. It certainly looked extremely unpleasant. Slowly she sat down again in her chair. She looked at this moment more terrifying than ever before. The fires of fury and hatred were smouldering in her small black eyes. "Matilda!" she barked. "Stand up!" "Who? Me?" Matilda said. "What have I done?" "Stand up, you disgusting little cockroach!" "I haven't done anything, Miss Trunchbull. Honestly, I haven't. I've never seen that slimy thing before." "Stand up at once, you filthy little maggot!" Reluctantly, Matilda got to her feet. She was in the second row. Lavender was in the row behind her, feeling a bit guilty. She hadn't intended to get her friend into trouble. On the other hand, she was certainly not about to own up. "You are a vile, repulsive, repellent, malicious little brute," the Trunchbull was shouting. "You are not fit to be in this school. You ought to be behind bars. That's where you ought to be. I shall have you drummed out of this establishment in utter disgrace. I shall have the prefects chase you down the corridor and out of the front door with hockey sticks. I shall have the staff escort you home under armed guard, and then I shall make absolutely sure you are sent to a reformatory for delinquent girls for the minimum of 40 years. Miss Trunchbull was in such a rage that her face had taken on a boiled colour and little flecks of froth gathering at the corners of her mouth. But she was not the only one who was losing her cool. Matilda was also beginning to see red.